What social customs do we need to retire? I have met a good few famous people, and it is weird to know how regular people think of celebrities and how generally famous people are kinda normal. I think it's kinda rare to see folks ask for an autograph nowadays and just want to take pictures. I saw an older guy offer to sign a gift he'd just given another famous person, and I'm just thinking, you're meeting in person and having a nice conversation. What does he need a signature on the gift he just received? It was a nice gesture, and I'm sure the old feller was just trying to be cool. But I've never asked for an autograph from any of the famous folks I've ran into. I'm going to get downvoted for this. Not all parasocial relationships are bad. They're normally empty, relatively healthy, and unavoidable in this day and age with the levels of media we consume. Parasocial relationships can help lonely, isolated people feel connected to something, and can help people develop their identities. However, it becomes unhealthy when the parasocial relationships interfere with the subject's life and interpersonal relationships. I agree. I love certain musicians to the point of checking out their side projects, learning about their gear, and how they make music, and that's it. People romanticize John Lennon because of Imagine or think that professional athletes are knowledgeable on politics, social ideas, when really these people might be awful and or have little knowledge on what they're talking about. Like Nicki Minaj saying COVID vaccines can cause impotence. You can enjoy and find inspiration in a person's work without putting them on a pedestal because of their fame, success. As a huge Beatles fan, who reads Beatles books, has a record collection, posters all over my room, constantly checks Beatles forums etc., I will acknowledge John Lennon was a piece of shit, but at the same time his thing was that he was once a piece of shit, changed his ways and began to preach moral idealism and love and for people to learn from his past mistakes. I feel that it's somewhat redeeming, but I also don't understand why people think he was some kind of Gandhi-type figure, as he was a huge hypocrite. You also can't deny that the Beatles have lived some of the most interesting lives of all time and were extremely talented, and they are truly captivating people. Literally just had this conversation, argument, the other day and was told that celebrity culture is not as pervasive as you think it is. Not everyone pays attention to that stuff. All I was trying to say was that celebrities and the like are put on a pedestal in general by our society when there are other far more valuable things for our society to buy into, like education, mental health, healthcare, etc. I recently stumbled across the Nicki Minaj vaccine controversy. In short, she made a passing comment that promoted vaccine hesitancy via an anecdote about someone's testicular swelling, and the responses from her fans were so frustrating. Tons of don't listen to the haters, queen, and people accusing critical voices of actively attempting to tarnish her name or outright destroy her. People had legitimate criticisms of her demos comment. She knows nothing about epidemiology, and should not be factored as a legitimate voice of expertise, much less when she's only providing an unsubstantiated anecdote. But still, a swarm of bootlicking fans are now protecting her, Nicki, a filthy rich celebrity, from criticism. Fuck celebrity culture. That said, no shade as people who enjoy following their drama or who are fans of an artist. I just don't like the Kool-Aid level obsession with a carefully curated image of a person. Build relationships with people in your life, not idealized fantasies constructed via media. I am just playing devil's advocate here, but it is important to point out that celebrities sell their own humanity. Literally, their whole existence is put on contract and sold to the highest bidder. Look at Britney Spears as an example of this. Poor girl. It sucks, but it's what they choose. I learned that apparently porn stars' bodies are literally property of whom they work for, so much so that you can be sued for taking a selfie with them without signing a legal waiver first. I don't count me watching a movie or a show worshipping the moment the program ends. That celebrity no longer exists in my world until I just happen to see them on something. I also don't give two shits about any of their opinions regardless of who they are and what position they take, because it doesn't matter in any real meaningful way 99% of the time. Worshipping is when you go out of your way to find news about them. You follow them on social media. You collect things of that particular celeb. You listen to everything they say and don't question it. Parasocial relationships are one of the biggest problems we face as a society today. I know. Also, more times than not, these people being idolized are not righteous and have very little merit. We should be looking up to educators, scientists, and everyday hard-working people rather than shallow sellout artists that have no real understanding of the human condition. Entertainment in general needs to be taken down a few pegs as far as prestige. It is only allowed to exist because hard-working people make and do things. Then some jackass sits in front of a camera and these people throw money at them. If you think about the history of entertainment, it was never this glamorous. Bards, poets, and playwrights used to scrape by. Hell, a musician would play all night in a pub for food and bed, and that was it. The only entertainers making any sort of money usually entertained the rich and powerful, who were few and far between. What changed is that now the average person in the West lives better than any king or queen ever did, and we have money and free time that we now spend on entertainment. I've sort of been workshopping a theory about this. I have a suspicion that a not insignificant part of the population just really wants a noble class. It's something that is basically old as humans: the Greek hero, the Germanic warrior kings, Slavic princes, Gaelic heroes. Basically a whole class of people that are rich and powerful and smart. Great and terrible people who were rich and ruled because they were just better than everyone else and it was their right. They had it and you didn't because they were just better than you in every way. As an example that stuck with me, in the Volsung saga, people who met Brunhilde automatically knew she was royal blood because if she was that pretty and that smart she just had to be. And that sort of thinking just keeps happening. The divine right of kings makes sense. They are rich, beautiful, and powerful, so they must know better than me. Rockefeller and Vanderbilt deserve to control the economy. Just look at how clever and wise they are. Teddy Roosevelt could whip anyone in a fight. Just look at how strong and handsome he is. And he has money. He must be brilliant as well. Let's make him our ruler. You could list dozens if not hundreds of modern-era politicians. They have money, they went to an Ivy League school, that must mean they are beautiful as well, and thus fit to rule us. Moral and good, they are fit to be treated better than all the rest, which must mean their family is great too. It's in the blood. We have done it over and over again. Kennedy, Bush, Romney, Clinton, Rockefeller, Ford. Our society made its own all-American nobility. We are doing it currently with the Trump family. Now apply the same concepts to entertainment. There are a few dozen names and families that you will see over and over: Baldwin, Wyan, Coppola, Barrymore, Fonda. Ultimately you end up with rich equals beautiful equals smart equals strong equals powerful. If you are one or two, you are likely all the others as well, and thus deserving of worship, the new nobility. And given that we as a species just keep forming these noble classes and worshipping them as greater than us, I have to assume there is something inside people that makes them want to have it. I've been reading A Brief History of Vice recently and it has some interesting things to say about this. I'll just paraphrase, but it can almost be seen as the thing that's replacing religion now that religion is on the downswing globally. Fame is similar to the immortality offered by many religions, and so it's slowly becoming less about religious immortality in the afterlife and cultural immortality after death. Celebrity worship is not new and not even unique to humans. Humans have been doing it for a long time, and monkeys exhibit a behavior that is in all practical terms the same as celebrity worship. They try to emulate other monkeys with higher social status, even without having ever had physical contact with the higher status monkey. A photo of the higher status monkey while just being close enough to smell and hear the other monkeys works. They'll willingly give up some of their food to get a photo of a higher status monkey. So basically it's a primate thing. Yes, as an on-the-road engineer, my best friends are celebs. I am considered their friend for two reasons. I don't always post a video or pics anywhere if it's not my own personal projects because I don't see value in it, so most of my life is a big question mark to people. I don't listen to a lot of music, so most of these people may only have big names to me, but I eventually get asked about whether I like their music and I tell them I'm only on the tour because it's a job and I'm not a fan of their music. This gains their respect. They know I could care less about who they are, how much money they wield, or who they can get me in contact with. In the end of the day, to me, is about being able to keep living. I have a few friends who rave on about Ariana Grande. Fuck that attention-hagging shameless excuse of a singer. Her music sucks. She claims to have PTSD from the Manchester bombing when she was nowhere near the explosion or the affected victims. She acts like a stuck-up little girl. And I swear she did something fucked up years ago, but I can't find what it was. If I hear my friend call her a bad bitch one more goddamn time, I will lose it. Though it looks like this custom is fading away during the pandemic. But how about we stop glorifying us being model employees by showing up to work even while sick? I was at a retailer for 14 years. And I don't have enough fingers and toes to count how many times I used to see managers and supervisors dragging themselves to work while sick to please their superiors. In January 2020, I ended up getting the flu from a CO worker that decided it would impress the store manager if she still showed up while sick with the flu. That culture went away real quick when we started getting COVID cases in the store I was at. And I too ended up getting a mild case of COVID. I've called out any time in the past when I felt sick. And I will continue to do so as I normally did. I had a supervisor who showed up with the flu in February 2020. He returned to work only 3 days after falling ill. He spread out his inhaler and other meds on the desk, and could barely speak for all of the coughing. Everyone stayed away from him, and he was out a few weeks later with what he now thinks is COVID. He returned to work fairly quickly with that as well. Edited to add that this was before protocols were in place and before we went remote, as it was March 2020. The full phrase is "the customer is always right in matters of taste." It's meant to mean that if someone wants to buy a product, you sell them it. Who are you to judge if they are willing to pay for a tartan-painted car? Edit. Many people are pointing out that the original term is in fact "the customer is always right." Through further research, I found that there is a movement to recoin the phrase to the above to show what the phrase was meant to mean, as many asshole customers think it's about them demanding 0-hour minimum wage workers to bend over and kiss their feet at their command. Till my fiancé's family are these people. They've all acted like spoiled pieces of shit multiple times over the years and have absolutely shat on my fiancé every time they do it. They stopped doing it to me early on because I refused to take their bullshit. They will all shout and scream at her about how she's got life so easy because she's in a good relationship and has a job, but none of them make any effort to change their lives in any positive way. Of course, once they're done shitting on her if she doesn't talk to them for a while, she's the asshole for ignoring her mother and sisters. Yeah, I cut all ties with my oldest sister several years ago. I just couldn't endure another second of her drama-filled, self-centered, money-grubbing nonsense. Total disrespect of my parents on FB. My dad did the same. It was long overdue. My mom tries to guilt us both into calling each other and making things right. She hasn't changed, only gotten worse. Why would I be so foolish to do so, Mom? Exclamation mark. I get the "she's your sister" excuse. I have zero guilt over cutting her out of my life. Matter of fact, I rather enjoy it. Got fired from a bar for doing this, and I'd do it again. You can't talk to me, the gatekeeper of the booze, like that, you stupid fucking dog cunt. Edit. Just to explain what happened that night. Worked at a bar for 6 months a couple of years ago now. I had quit uni and moved to a ruralish town in northern England for work. From NC originally, was one of 3 full-time bartenders and was considered one of their better workers, made friends of everyone etc. One night, closing on my own, Tipsy couple comes in 1 hour from closing. I serve them and move on about cleaning the entire bar so the next guy doesn't have to. The couple sat at the bar in a spot we called the no-no spot cause we can't see you behind the tapes and therefore won't automatically serve you. We were 10 from full closing, then the wife says something about expecting auto service. I say yeah sorry. She's like we close in 10 and you'll have to leave 10 minutes after that. She said something snarky about how we're a speed bar etc. They were drunk. I said sorry but I'll keep cleaning and stop serving if you're gonna be rude. The husband sat there drunk and slumping, slurs out wanker, you tosspot. So all I said was well you ain't getting served then, there's the door, your name's on the knob. I'm a big Anthrax fan, Bello is a great bassist. They requested a manager so I got them one who also asked them to leave as well and wrote a note saying if someone calls I did nothing wrong. GM didn't care. Next morning I was gone. My current job is 410s. At first I was bummed, still am to a degree, that I don't have 3 days off in a row, but I work Tuesday/Wed/Fri/Sat and I gotta say always being at most 2 days away from a day off from work has been amazing. You always feel close to the weekend, plus my Saturdays are so easy I would choose to take off any other day before taking off Saturday unless it was for a trip or I had specific plans that are on a Saturday. Sure, a 3-day weekend would be amazing for many vacations etc. But I try to see the bright side of everything and really enjoy my schedule now. I've taken roller skating lessons with a class of 5-year-olds and I don't have kids. All the parents thought it was strange, but I felt it was the best way to learn rather than risking falling on the kids at the rink. Plus, since the kids were ahead of me on skills, the teacher had them show what they knew by having them teach me. The kids loved it. Many of the parents were bothered by me joining the class, when it was specifically an all-ages class. I just didn't realize that I would be the only person not that young. I found out most of the parents couldn't skate themselves. Seems to me it would have been good for them to be out there learning as well rather than just watching. Or, if they wanted their own class, enough adults could have requested a separate class. I hope all the kids kept skating. Going off that, I hate the idea that doing a hobby as an adult requires you to either teach, go pro, or go big on some competition circuit. A person can be committed to a hobby just because they enjoy it, not because they're trying to make money or become a world champion. I'm a swing dancer, and people think they're being nice when they say things like wow, you must be a professional. Or do you teach? I bet you teach. You've done it for so long. And it's like, I appreciate the intention, but why? I DJ for $25.50 a gig. It's barely even a side gig, but I have no interest in teaching. I don't compete well, sometimes I perform but I'm really just doing this for fun. Why is that so hard for people to understand? I've DJ'd tons of weddings and I always told couples beforehand to not do the garter toss unless it's something they're super on board with. At a minimum, it's awkward for the parents, grandparents, but if both of the newlyweds look uncomfortable it's awkward for literally everyone. Maximum cringe is when they do the thing where the person that caught the garter has to put it on the leg of the one that caught the bouquet and the further up they go, the more good luck the newlyweds will have. Putting our jobs before our personal lives. Edit. I took the day off work after I posted this, because why not? Edit 2. Just wanted to share this quote. Each and every one of us has been born into a given historical reality, ruled by particular norms and values, and managed by a unique economic and political system. We take this reality for granted, thinking it is natural, inevitable and immutable. We forget that our world was created by an accidental chain of events, and that history shaped not only our technology, politics and society, but also our thoughts, fears and dreams. The cold hand of the past emerges from the grave of our ancestors, grips us by the neck and directs our gaze towards a single future. We have felt that grip from the moment we were born, so we assume that it is a natural and inescapable part of who we are. Therefore we seldom try to shake ourselves free, and envision alternative futures. Yuval Noah Harari. One of the reasons I quit my most recent job, sure it had awesome benefits, but I was bashed over the head so much about how I'm not putting work first enough and how dare I go out to grab dinner while on call or have a date with my husband instead of sitting around waiting for my boss to send me spreadsheets at 10 p.m. just in case. By the time I quit, I had a month's worth of PTO I hadn't used in forever because every request for a break was shut down with "we're busy and need you" equals "we haven't hired anyone else and no one knows what the fuck to do except give you these documents to make sense of them for us."